meeting to order of the City of Erie Planning Commission for Tuesday, July 15th. Cooper, you want to run through the members and others who are here or not?
Sure. Chair, Rich Spiker.
Yes.
Vice Chair Colin Russ.
Present.
Commissioner Jason Wazorek.
Here.
Commissioner Douglas Spizzarni.
Present.
Director Jackie Spry is not here yet. And Assistant Planner Cooper Moore is here.
Thank you.
Technically, the vacant seat is here.
Huh?
Technically, the vacant seat is present. Just nobody in it.
Yeah. Yes. All right, first item is approval of the June 17th, 2025 meeting minutes. As distributed, are there any comments? I have a motion for approval.
Second?
Did you approve it? I'll approve it.
I think he was thinking you were making the
Oh,
motion.
yeah. I'll motion to approve minutes.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Cooper, do we need to do the special meeting from last week?
I think we'll do that in next month.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Is there any member of the public here to make a comment? I don't see anyone. No? That being the case, we'll move on. Old business, saldo amendment updates and timeline. I see.
Rich, can you hear me? I'm online.
Yes, I hear you just fine.
Okay. Good. I'm trying to find here my schedule. Just one moment. So the saldo is currently online and is, I guess, a week or so into a 30-day public comment period. Public comment period that will end on August 6th. After that, we will hold a special meeting, we held a special meeting last week with the Planning Commission. And then we hope that the saldo, the final draft will be on the Planning Commission's agenda to take action and recommend to City Council for the August meeting. Again, the schedule will continue that there will be this is, to be determined, but this is my internal schedule with it, that we would hold the public hearing on August 20th during a city council meeting, and then have the first reading on September 3rd and the second reading on September 17th. The September 17th would be second reading for final adoption. So that's where we're at with the saldo. We made some additional edits this week per the request of Jason Check, our city solicitor. And then Cooper is continuing to finalize the workflow diagram that will be adopted at the same time that the amendment text would be. Do you have any questions for me regarding the saldo or schedule?
In Jason's comments where you updated things, anything significant or just form and language?
Yes, the suggestions were primarily about organization of some of the sections. So Jason suggested separating major and minor subdivisions, which which Troy is in the process of doing, to have them just to provide more clarity within the document. So they were not major changes that, of that matter.
Okay, thank
And I
you.
think Jason is in the audience, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken.
Yep. All right.
There were a couple notes I had after that meeting, just looking through it again. Can I just go ahead and email those to the group? Okay.
Good.
Yes, and Cullen, thank you for those follow-up kind of thought process notes that you provided. Those will be helpful to us when we establish the policy, not policy, but the procedure and checklists. Those will be very helpful for that. So
Yeah,
we'll be revisiting that when we move into that after adoption.
Yeah, I just put those together, so I figured rather than letting them, die on my computer, never be seen again, if they served any value to share them. So I'm glad they did.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? None, then we'll move on. New business. Under Section A, subdivision and land development. We have a item for Bayview Heights, Arc Terrace. Who can tell me about this?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Andrew Gibbs. I'm an employee of Arc Terrace Impact Investors, and I'm joined today with my colleague Joe Sugiyama, as well as our design team, Opticos, Nick and Alex, who are based in California, and Charlie, who is based locally here in Erie with Weber Murphy Fox. And our intent today was to walk you through a presentation that we put together to discuss our site plan and receive feedback on the design concepts for the Planning Commission's process. So do we have a time slot allocated for how much time we have?
No.
No? Okay, great. Well, I thought maybe it would be helpful to first just start out with an introduction of who we are, and then we've submitted a presentation that I'm going to share as well and walk you through each slide.
Are we able to pull up the presentation? Will you all be able to share it?
Are you able to share your
Are you able to share your screen? That would be the best way to do that. Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
See this?
Got it.
Okay, great. So a quick introduction on who we are. Arcturus. Arcturus is an impact investment development firm based in Boston. And our mission is to invest in communities throughout the U.S. through place-based partnerships that often don't see a whole lot of outside institutional capital. So we raise capital from private individuals, institutions, and invest in communities throughout the U.S. through place-based, often public-private partnerships, sometimes partnerships with philanthropy or community foundations. We currently have a partnership with Erie Community Foundation and have been actively investing in downtown Erie for now the past 3 to 4 years. Our first couple projects were some new apartments in what we call Block 2, where the Ascend rock climbing gym is, parking garage, as well as the flagship food hall. And so this is what we're calling phase 2 of our Erie partnership with Erie Community Foundation. And currently we're under contract right now for the site, about 2.7 acres of land in West Bayfront neighborhood. So just west of downtown, right in between 2nd and 3rd and Cherry and Poplar Street. Our understanding of the site is it's about 2.7 acres of land It's mostly been filled over time, and there's been a number of homes here that were previously either torn down or had some blight that had to be removed for other reasons. And so we've hired 2 design consultants, Opticos and Weber Murphy Fox, and put together some preliminary site plan opportunities for the site. And our intent here is to complete this meeting today and receive some feedback, comments on the site plan, and then hopefully take those comments and incorporate that into a larger submission for preliminary site plan approval process before we go ahead and engage in much larger engineering and architectural expenditure. So that would be helpful just to set a little bit of context of how we got here with this current site plan, and what our goals and objectives are, and how we think that it is commensurate with Erie's master plan and West Bayfront master plan. And so starting with one of the things we always like to do is tour around the neighborhoods we work in and really get familiar with some of the other architecture, some of the housing types, typologies. And when we build a new project, our main objective is to have it look like it's been there for a while. And so we're often inspired by some of the adjacent homes in the neighborhood. And as you all know, West Bayfront has just a tremendous stock of high quality homes. A lot of these were built across different architectural periods from mid 1800s to mid 1900s. Often we see a lot of Second Empire architecture, federal kind of neo-colonial classical, all with these kind of warm cottage undertones that really make the neighborhood feel like a very comfortable, open environment. And so our desire was to kind of pull some of that forward and use that as inspiration on our design board for the site. And so the second objective we had was just to make sure that whatever we did plan here, we wanted to make sure it was consistent with what the community was looking for as well. We are an impact investment firm, and so we're mission oriented, although we typically focus on affordable housing. We also look at workforce and some market rate housing as well, depending upon the needs of the community. And so we did spend some time looking at the community plan that was put together for our West Bayfront neighborhood, and wanted just to make sure that we were putting together something that we thought was consistent with the goals of that plan. And a couple quotes and words that kind of just came to mind as we went through that was one, folks should be building something that is consistent with the unity of character and design of the neighborhood. So something that looks like it's been there for a while, that is consistent with some of the adjacent architecture. That's just also in the city's zoning ordinance as well, and is required in order to receive a special site plan approval process. Another important point is new infill construction is mentioned in here as well. So instead of just buying homes and tearing down lots, try to really work with the existing grid and develop new homes on smaller lots. This is a very complicated site, as we'll show you in a minute. It's got a lot of different, what we call fingers to it. So we try to come up with a mix of housing products that works and doesn't feel like you just dropped a building out of the sky, an apartment building. We wanted to kind of work with the existing scale of the neighborhood by having smaller homes, but still able to achieve the number of homes that we need in order to make the project financially achievable. Other kind of just, I won't mention all of these, but just other things that came to mind was space for pedestrian movement. So trying to make the site work together as opposed to feeling like it's chopped up into different private single family homes or lots, but making it feel like it's integrated with the existing community. So we've got pedestrian access points throughout the site that will allow residents to walk within the site. And then just other, things like gardens and landscaping. And I'll just caveat that this is very much a preliminary site plan at the moment. We haven't authorized, significant engineering, architectural expenditure that will really get into the fine details of lighting and landscaping. We wanted just to solicit the feedback from the Planning Commission now before we get into that level of detail. But we do have some level of detail in here from a landscaping perspective that we think is consistent with this high standard set in the existing neighborhood. So a couple other points. I'm not going to go through all of these details here, but we did go through the city's zoning ordinance and wanted to make sure that we were planning something that was consistent with the ordinance. And we believe the site plan submitted here today is consistent with that. A couple things to highlight. One is the setback. So the ordinance says that the setback for the building should be no more than 5 feet of the average setback for the whole street. So the setbacks in each individual homes ranges from almost no setback, 5 to 3 feet, to 10 feet. And so our average setback is within 5 feet of that average. Other things looking at is having parking that's screened. So it's not, you're not looking at a parking lot as you're driving by. Our parking is in the back. One of the key core design principles that we leaned into with Opticos, and this is really something that was really a core part of their business, is making sure that every home has a view of some green park space, so that homes are not just looking into a parking lot or a driveway, but each house has a view of some green space. And what you'll see in the site plan is we tried to orientate that around public park or parks, I should say. Some of those parks face the waterfront, and so even though not every home will have a view of the water, we wanted to orientate the houses towards the water so that people feel like they are close to the beautiful lake there. Getting into some of the more detailed minutiae here on what the zoning requirements are for this site. So there's two zoning classification of the site. One is WR, the other is R2. And R2 is just a very small piece of the site. It's just on this bottom left side right here. The rest of the site is WR, so Waterfront Residential District, which allows for much higher density than what we're proposing. We decided to scale back the density just to make sure that we're building something that was consistent with the adjacent neighborhood. So what we did not want to do was to plan a big apartment building that, even though we thought would comply with the existing zoning, it would not fit in with the adjacent character of the neighborhood. And so we look at some of the key requirements here. One is, what's the minimum lot area per family? So WR requires a minimum lot area of 1,000 square feet. We're proposing 1,800 square feet in the WR section, and then R2 requires 2,000 feet. We're proposing 2,300, so we've got a little bit of a buffer there. Other kind of important characteristics are, what's the lot max coverage, the max lot coverage ratio of the site. So the maximum for both WR and R2 is 50%, so you can't have more than 50% of the lot be built on. From a floor area ratio standpoint, we're at 26. So I think we could have gone a more intensive use here, decided to scale it back to preserve more of the open space. Talked about some of the setbacks from the front yard. The side yard setbacks are wider than what the minimum setback is. We're double what the minimum setback is. And then also what the height is. So the code says that you can go up to 50 feet in WR and 45 feet in R2. And what we're proposing is a max of 38 feet. And most of that 38 feet is a townhome product, and then 35 feet for our fourplex.
So just a quick comment. The actual lot yard and height requirements that you're referencing for WR. Oh, no, excuse me, I was looking at the wrong, you've got, oh, never mind, I got the columns mixed up. Please continue.
So this is a summary of our site plan that Opticos put together. Opticos is a well-recognized national planning firm that is focused on designing missing middle housing. And so what that means is planning for a variety of different household sizes on the same site. So one of our core planning objectives here was to get at least 2 to 3 different types of housing styles on this site. So it's not just all single family or all apartments. And so we've broken up the site. The south side of the site, which is a little bit more of a residential intensity use, are townhomes. So these are larger homes, about 1,300 square feet per home. And so you'll see in here, they're clustered around courtyards. So there's 3 townhomes per box here around each of these courtyards, and each townhome will have its a porch or some type of outdoor deck space that can be utilized facing the courtyard. And then on the northern edge of the site, we've got 4-plex units. So these are really designed to look and feel like a single-family home, like a large single-family home that had been in the community for a while, but in order to allow other household sizes to live here, we've chopped it up. And so we think about a lot of these old single-family homes that have been chopped up into 2 or 4 units, like something like this. We think that this 4-plex is pretty consistent with some of the existing typologies in the neighborhood. And similarly, it's all orientated around a park for the residents. And so each housing unit will have a really nice view of green space, landscaping, that we think will really foster a strong sense of community from the neighborhood. So what we've submitted to the Planning Commission are now the following slides. And so these are more elevations and of the townhomes. So this is the townhome product. This is the front elevation here of one of the units. I would just caveat, this is still very much in work in progress. These are just high-level conceptual designs. We haven't authorized expenditure on more schematic designs yet, but hopefully we'll get there. And then some high-level designs on potential landscaping options for the courtyards as well. And these are the 4-plex homes. So what I mentioned, our intent here is to make these look and feel almost like a single-family home that had been in the neighborhood for a while, but had been cut up into smaller housing units. So these are 4 units per home here, and the intent is that you've got 2 1-bedrooms on the ground floor, and you've got 2 2-bedrooms on the second and third floor. This is a snapshot of one of the sort of bird's eye elevations of what it could look like. And so as you can see here, the houses are all facing this courtyard that we think will really be great for the community. It has a lot of other benefits as well, besides we think aesthetics, just in terms of public safety. Just kind of see what's going on inside, so it's not like there could be a lot of things happening in the backyard without a whole lot of visibility. It's opened up to the street, so it feels like to us, it feels like it fosters a real sense of community coming onto the street and communicating with the street. And then this particular housing cluster also faces the water, so even though you don't have a water view per se, I think we hope that some of the porches and being outside can make people feel like they are close to a beautiful lake right there. And so It's a unique concept, this cottage cluster. A lot of planners around the country have been racing it, and Opticos is one of the national recognized design firms that kind of coined this typology and has been very successful in planning and developing these across the country. We recognize that it's not for everybody. Some folks are going to find this just doesn't fit their preference. They're going to want their own yard, they're going to want their own backyard, and that's okay to recognize that people have different preferences, and we're not necessarily building a product that is going to appeal to everybody. But from our perspective, it hits a lot of our key goals, and most importantly, it gives us the level of density and scale we need to also get the project closer to where it needs to be financially to pencil. So it's I think it's gonna be a pretty fun little concept when it's built out. And then there's another picture here of the aerial, what it could look like. So I will pause there. I know I did a lot of talking, and yield to either other members of my team that want to say something that I think I left out, or folks on the planning commission.
Well, thanks so far. Couple questions. What's the density of the development?
61 units.
60. Can you tell me in terms of dwelling units per acre or whatever?
Yeah, sure. It's 22 and a half units per acre. So it's I would say close to what you'd expect for a more garden style walk up multifamily building.
Okay, thank you. I see what I presume is an outbuilding for common mail. How's trash being handled for the development?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're still working on the trash, but there is a spot right here that we think could be for trash right here. It's in the corner of the site. But that's something that we're going to have to really get into greater detail as we design this in a more schematic design.
Okay. What have you done any development of the unit plans at all? Mostly, I'm interested about the spaces that back up to the porches and overlook the common garden area.
Yeah. So maybe this product right here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some high level floor plans for this product type. I don't have those handy. Actually, yeah, I might be able to screen this.
Well,
yeah, we'll share our screen on those right now. So this is, so these are pretty high level, I would say, at this point, but should give you an idea of what the format would be. So think of this as one half of that fourplex unit. So these are 15 feet wide. The total width is 30 feet. So you have this replicated on the other side of that unit. And what you're looking at here is each plan is a different story. So starting with the left side of the page is the first floor. These would be very efficient one-bedroom units. And then on the second floor are two-bedroom units. On the second floor, you have an interior stairwell that will take you from that second to third floor.
Okay. I guess I'm mostly concerned about that there is occupied space that's observing those common areas, so that provide kind of secondary supervision of what could otherwise be a very quasi-public space, subject to who knows what going on. Secondly, is there on the first floor unit, is there going to be a second exit out of there? Again, it's common in this area for people to contain or to have possess gas grill or wood-fired grill for social events. And what kind of development do you see outside of that kind of entrance?
Yeah, we'd love to have a little bit of backyard space for some of the households here to have a gas grill. I think that's something that we would really look to fine tune as we enter the next phase of design. And a place for folks to keep maybe there's a trash bin outside. I hear your point on the second access to the house. I think we will certainly be designing these to make sure they are complying with the IRC code, the IBC code, and that's something that we'll look at as we enter the next phase of design. Of what's required there.
Okay, I just.
Andrew, may I add something? This is Alex with Opticos.
Yeah.
Just about to address the first question about eyes on the green space. I think the idea is to orient all the very public interior spaces of those units, i.e. typically like the living dining kitchen, so that they all kind of have this window that looks out into that green space, both from, a safety standpoint, but just social interaction. So that is very much our intent. And whether it's on the ground floor with the living space or the second floor with their living space, is the idea is that everybody's can be kind of, understanding what's going on in that green area, both so that it truly is like a semi-public, not for that community, not necessarily getting other people from outside.
So to your comment around, that community space, I mean, I like, first off, thank you for sharing this with us. It's certainly nice to see opportunities for development. I know one of the things that kind of stood out to me is the porches. I'm a big fan of porches. Like how they're overlooking that space, but the character of this neighborhood is also pretty distinct. And if you drive by, porches are all street facing as well. So I guess as a comment, I would offer, when since these are, as you said, very preliminary, plans, it would be a worthwhile exercise to explore whether wrapping those around to create that, sort of assimilation with the existing neighborhood to create those front porches, even if, there is still that look to, go into those courtyards. I think of that front porch thing just culturally from events, from existing, housing that's there, having kind of that street-facing porch is a pretty common, and frankly, from the culture of the neighborhood, from events like Porch Fest or otherwise, that's a outdoor living space that is commonly used. So I would encourage you to look at how street-facing porches could be, incorporated into these designs. But then, as far as these courtyards go, I mean, I think they look beautiful. The question I have is, obviously, this is a private development. Are these, going to be, treated and considered community assets, where it's a place where the community can actually, come together and barbecue, or is, this going to effectively create its own little, microcosm in this development? Because I know you mentioned, and I appreciate hearing, desire to be part of the community, but there's, the intent of it and then the actual practical, interaction of these spaces. And is it going to be off limits to the community that people walk by and see it, or is this a place that people can truly engage and live? And
There's a fence and a hedge.
well, I know, and that's why I'm asking. I know, and I know that these are early drawings, so I just, wanting to understand kind of the thinking and, not to get into, obviously, legal liabilities, all those things, but what is the drive for and the thinking behind these courtyards, whether they're community-oriented beyond just this development, or is it really being looked at as, here's a nice green space for, residents and residents only?
Andrew, you're on mute right now, bud.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, those are great points, and appreciate those questions. So on the first question with the porches wrapping around, I think we would love to wrap these porches around and have them face the street. And so you can kind of see we did provide some deck space to wrap these. I think as we kind of build out the architecture a little bit more, we could certainly look at adding a cover to the porch as well, just to kind of make these more of an L-shaped porch, which I think would be a really great benefit to the households there. So certainly something we could take a look at adding. And then the question on whether or not the courtyards are public, I think, or private. So the intent always is just to have these maintained by the development community. So the city is not responsible for plowing the snow and cutting the grass. And the intent was to make these essentially restricted use for the residents of the community that live here. We recognize that we don't have any backyard space for any of the houses, so we're kind of proposing a new concept here where the front yard really is the backyard. And so I think our intent was to make this really have the use restricted for the folks living here in the community, just because we are giving up a lot of that backyard space and recognize that it's not going to be for everybody to give up the backyard, and hope that some folks will appreciate that and see the benefit of having this front yard be the backyard.
Okay, thank you. What is the price point on the different units that you're looking at right now? I mean, I'm just curious, knowing what market is in Erie and in this region, particularly.
Yeah, good question. It's at the moment we're looking at renting these out as opposed to selling them. I think over time we would love to find a way to sell them back to the renters. And so one of the challenges of our fund is that we have to hold the project for 10 years, so we can't just build it and sell it. It's a restriction on our pool of capital. But after 10 years, we could certainly look at selling them back to individual residents. And
actually, I apologize. I should have been clear. Recognizing it's opportunity zone fund and all of that. I guess rental price point is what I meant. Yeah,
rental price point. It's pretty similar to what is in the existing neighborhood. So there's only one other comparable project right now that is down the street of kind of new high quality. And so it's at the moment it's about like a little less than $2 per square foot per month is what we're budgeting, I'd say, which is consistent with what we're seeing in downtown Erie.
So we're around 1,700, 2,300, something like that a month, depending on the unit size?
Yeah,
Ballpark?
give or take, plus or minus. You know, I think I'm always hesitant to give out like that firm number just at this early stage because the market changes. You know, we don't have a full set of engineering drawings we can bid out to contractors and know really what is required to be financially sustainable. But I will say that it's consistent with what we're seeing in the market for other available housing options.
Okay, and the last question I have, kind of text on it, I might have missed it when you were showing the floor plans earlier. What are the different unit sizes? What's a 2-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom or a 1-bedroom?
Yeah, so there's 3 different sizes. The townhomes are 2 bedrooms, and we have this flex room on the bottom floor that's in front of the garage. So we call that like a 2-bedroom and a den. Those are roughly 1,250 square feet, give or take. And then we have in the fourplex 2 different product types. We have a 1-bedroom unit that's on the ground floor that's around 525 square feet. This is true kind of leasable area. And then we have a larger 2-bed on the second and third floor that's roughly 950 square feet.
Thank you.
Would you characterize that these units are intended to be affordable? Or
yeah, it's a great question. Being an impact fund, we're always really focused on building affordable housing. Our average affordability on our projects are across our whole portfolio is about 50% affordable, 50% market rate for workforce housing. For this specific case, though, unfortunately, we can't restrict these to a certain affordability level just because the project doesn't financially underwrite. But our intent is to target, I would say, more workforce housing here. So households that are earning somewhere between 100 to 130% of their immediate income. And that's where we think the natural affordability point is based on the current rent levels in the market.
Okay. This is going to be, how do you avoid this project becoming a gentrifying influence in a long time and pretty diverse neighborhood?
I like that question a lot. We've talked to Gretchen, who runs our West Bayfront organization, about this as well, and something we try to put a lot of thought into, because you're spot on. Like new housing development could potentially draw more traffic here and potentially increase rents on adjacent properties. So one of the things we've looked at doing was, before we put a shovel in the ground, trying to survey some of the adjacent homes around the block and identify who is renting and who's a homeowner, and working with Gretchen's organization or another nonprofit to potentially buy some of the rental housing and either find a way to sell that back to some of the renters, or find a way to permanently keep that affordable, either through the deed restriction or some other mechanism we can use, so that this doesn't just cause neighborhood rents to rise in the adjacent community. So it's something that we would certainly look to do before we put a shovel in the ground there.
Okay. Jason, do you have any thoughts, questions?
I have lots of thoughts. I've already shared them with Andrew. I don't know, you want me to rehash those again for the public, or?
I'm fine if you communicated it.
If they pertain to the Planning Commission's role.
Yeah. You saying you want me to share, or?
if they pertain to the Planning Commission's role
Yeah, they
in
do.
this, in land development review.
Yeah. I shared with Andrew, he had shared these plans with me a week or two ago. My biggest concern is really the site layout. I'm a resident of this neighborhood, and so I'm very intimate with the architecture and the density. And I think saying that you're matching the density and actually accomplishing that are two different things. So I get concerned when I look at the site plan, and if I squint my eyes, and it doesn't look too far off from being a suburban business park. These kind of missing teeth in the rhythm of our street is something that we're trying to infill these kind of ideas in our neighborhood. So to recreate those gaps is counterintuitive to me. I know I shared it's kind of derogatory, but if I was in a polygamous cult, this is the exact layout I would come up with, where I'd have porches where all my wives could face each other and a private courtyard that's separated from the rest of the neighborhood. So my biggest concern is that this development will allow for the residents of it to isolate themselves. They have off-street parking, plenty of ample amount of off-street parking, where they'll never be forced to interact with the rest of the neighborhood. Our West Bayfront, we take pride in, as Colin alluded to, our front porches. We have a festival called Front Porch Fest. It celebrates that typology. I feel like this design of this development kind of defies that thought and historic, 100-year-old historic character of our neighborhood. I think if you were to demolish every block in our neighborhood and replace it with this style, it would fundamentally change who we are, and that's not acceptable to me.
All right.
So, since this, it was referenced that this is just an early preliminary plan, we don't have any action on it today,
No,
correct?
nothing like that.
Okay.
Well, Doug, do you have any comments you'd like to make? Questions?
None at this time.
Thank you. All right. Any closing thoughts or remarks beyond? Thinking of the Arcturus people, whether they're satisfied with what they've heard so far. And go on to other business.
Yeah, I appreciate, we appreciate the great questions and dialogue. Our next step here is to move this forward for a formal planning commission site plan vote, I would say. We will certainly take some of the feedback that we heard today and try to incorporate that into the plan. We'd love to sort of put this on the agenda as soon as possible so that we can authorize our local engineer, Weber Burton Fox, and our planner and architect to start getting into some of the more detailed planning decisions here. So certainly realize that this is not for everybody. We're welcome to a variety of opinions and views, and we certainly appreciate that conversation, and we'll do our best to incorporate that, and we'd love to just get a vote on this to determine what our path is moving forward with the project.
I'd like to make a final comment. This is Jackie Spry, the Director of Planning. Arcturus came and we had a preliminary meeting, an internal preliminary meeting, just so the Planning Commission is aware. And I think we did state this, that, that they showed us their preliminary plans. There were no zoning issues with the plan. At the time, we also discussed with them the they adopted our West Bayfront plan, and they were already in the works of communicating and talking with our West Bayfront. With all due respect, Jason, your analogy is quite interesting, and I would say it is quite opinionated, and you're speaking really with one voice, and that is not what we're here to do today. So I want to make sure that, we are upholding, the Planning Commission is upholding what they are intended to do. That this is an initial step to this land development review process.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing the updates.
Yeah, I would really urge you to stay in frequent contact with the city staff so that we can stay up to date as things develop. Appreciate your presentation today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Yep. Okay, next item, new business. There is no rezoning at this time. Items on the table. Blighted property designation, there's no items for consideration. The annual report. Jackie, do you have something to say?
Just that we are working on it, and we hope to have something in draft form in August.
Okay. Thank you.
Real quickly, I know it's on agenda, but before we adjourn, Jackie, since we do have the vacancy, anyone who's, I guess, watching or may watch the replay, if they're interested in applying for that vacancy, how can they do so?
Colin, we haven't posted anything yet or communicated that to the administration, so.
So it will be,
We're not quite there yet, Colin.
Okay, but eventually it'll be posted online?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I presume there are no updates for discussion today?
Department updates?
Yeah.
Not anything pressing other than we have a pretty full schedule for the next couple of weeks, engaging with the community for the Erie Outside, the comprehensive recreation parks and open space plan.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty much all over the city. We're trying to participate in as many events and table those events as we can to get the word out, to get feedback. We have a youth survey that we're doing. And if anyone is interested in helping us, because we, are stretched pretty thin, if anyone on the Planning Commission would like to, even in your neighborhoods, would like to table even at a park or just, provide some capacity to us in this engagement process, we would really appreciate it. So if you're interested, just reach out and let me know. We have a full schedule that we can put you to work. So that's all I have today, Rich. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Before we get to adjournment, I want to insert an item, talk about considering adding a series of special meetings prior to our monthly meetings. I think we discovered one of the requirements related to the open meeting is the inability of commissioners to have a online discussion about events, pending, future, and past. And so wanting to avoid anything, I'd like to suggest that we establish a special meeting prior to the regular monthly meeting, so that we have an opportunity to be familiar with upcoming events and discussions internally amongst ourselves about what it is we're here for and what we're trying to do. I think it would be useful for us to do that.
I agree.
I agree.
So-
We got a lot going on and a lot we
Yeah.
want to keep doing, so I think it
And
makes
a lot
sense.
more going to happen.
We've been a lot more active in the last 6 months
Yeah.
than we have in the last 6 years.
Yeah, and certainly don't want to.
The only comment, I'm sorry to interrupt, the only comment I would make on that is that we are required to have an agenda for a special meeting, and we are required to publicize it. So are you suggesting that before every monthly meeting, you want to have another public meeting to discuss what you could be discussing at the regular meeting? Because the special meetings are really very focused on specific topics. That's how I understand it. I know Jason is in the audience, and
Yeah.
maybe he can speak to this a little bit more, but I mean, we do have to post an agenda and have a purpose for that special meeting. So
Well,
Is there a
I'm not-
distinction between working sessions?
Well, what kind of,
We would like to be able to have
There-
dialogue that's not subject to the Sunshine Act prior to our meeting so that we,
your special meeting is subject to the Sunshine Act?
Yeah,
correct. That's why we would like to have more of those so we can actually talk prior to these meetings and prepare our thinking with each other.
My question is are you contemplating something similar to like what city council does during caucus? So they
Yes.
kind of discuss things ahead of time, and then they go to the actual city council meeting and do the
Right.
actual votes?
I think that's the idea. It is the way that it was, I think, presented to us, is that we can't have more than 2 or 3 of us in a conversation and not be in violation of the open meeting sunshine rule.
That's
So
correct. If there's
we-
any sort of majority, should constitute a public meeting under the Sunshine Law. So probably just immediately thinking is that if you wanted to do like a caucus type of meeting, why don't you just already start that at 1 o'clock on your normal times? Because those dates have already been advertised for the year, and say that that's 1 to 1:30, and then at 1:30, you would start your regular planning commission meeting on the same day. And that kind of would model the city council. The dates are already advertised to start at 1.
Our problem is I think we can come to common ground with each other on decisions, but we can't do that without talking it out first. Instead, we're non-verbalized,
Yeah.
eye winks to each other
Or
up
heck,
here, and we'd
I
rather
mean-
talk about it.
I mean, heck, especially the caucus or special meeting, whatever you want to call it, could be from like 1 to 1:15. You guys talk about stuff, but you don't actually vote.
Right. Oh, no, that's,
You know,
it's not to come to a binding
just for
conclusion.
discussions.
It is for discussion, because,
Well, I'm just thinking just to comply with the Sunshine Act.
Yeah.
And to go forward, if you want to say you want to start this, say immediately, well, the dates are already set out, that makes it
Right.
easy for Jackie and you guys, and then just kind of just break it into 2 things. And I don't even know if you'd need to like really advertise that much. I mean, you might have to post something, but like, it would already be here. So I think that would be the easiest.
okay,
But yeah, but it is
We could
true
try
though.
that.
we can try that. I think that's a,
And then the other thing too is if someone can only do it online, like we do the special meeting at 1, do
Right.
the next meeting at 1:15 or 1:30, they're already online.
yeah,
So that'll help with that possibly. So that way the Sunshine Law is complied with as best as possible.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll give that a go.
Yeah, I think that's unless there's something extra, then I can do what you guys did like last week with stuff, you know.
Yeah, no, that's,
That's also logistically preferable for me. And of course, if there are things that need to be discussed in a special meeting, we can hold as many as you call at a regular meeting that you wish. So that's never a problem to have a special meeting. It seems that logistically it would be a lot easier if it was just about discussion and not taking action.
yes,
Yeah, I think it's just,
Agree
I think
completely.
we're all just on the page, and we just want to be able to, talk ideas through and kind of, play devil's advocate and figure out what's going to be the best path forward.
That way it's
so.
all open to the public, so in case there's a public idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can communicate, so we're all good then.
I'll gladly
Right.
talk right here, like in public, that's the goal, is what
Yeah.
we're talking about, right? So it's,
Yep.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and this room is a bit more accessible to then holding some of the planning, or holding some of the special meetings that we have
Right.
upstairs, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But-
Last week was actually sort of my fault because I had parking appeals I already scheduled for the second Thursday of the month, so I had this room last Thursday. So I sort of apologize because it's a necessary evil.
I understand. Thank you. All right,
Motion adjourn?
motion to adjourn. Second?
Yep.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for participating.